Good evening, everyone. Today is Monday, October 14th, 2024. The time now is 5:30, and I'll call to order the special meeting of the Town of Mead Urban Renewal Authority. In accordance with the authority's remote participation and remote meeting policy adopted June 12th, 2023 by resolution number 1 URA 2023, remote participation will be allowed at tonight's meeting via Zoom. Mary, roll call, please.
Chairman Whitlow.
Here.
Commissioner Adams.
Here.
Commissioner Broadhead. Commissioner Cartwright.
Here.
Commissioner Harris. Here. Commissioner Parr.
Here.
Commissioner Schranz.
Here.
Commissioner Hurnick. Here. Commissioner James.
Here.
Commissioner McConnell.
Here.
Chairman Whitlow, today is Monday, October 14th, 2024, and you do have a quorum.
Thank you very much, Mary. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next is our review and approve agenda. Is there any changes to the agenda this evening? Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I motion to approve the agenda. Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Mary.
Commissioner Schranz.
Yes.
Commissioner Cartwright.
Yes.
Commissioner Harris. Yes. Commissioner McConnell.
Yes.
Commissioner Hurnick. Commissioner Adams.
Yes.
Commissioner Parr.
Yes.
Commissioner James.
Yes.
Chairman Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you. Motion carries. We have an agenda for this evening. Next is our informational items for tonight. The first one is the 2023 audited financial statements, and this will be introduced by Mary Strutt, our Administrative Service Director, and Lorraine Trotter, Professional Management Solution, who is with us via Zoom.
Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. Actually, on the audited financial statements, they are in your packet. As I said in the AIS, Mura is a component unit of the Town of Mead, so is audited along with it, and we did get a clean audit report. Lorraine Trotter is available online if you have any questions about the audited financial statements. Otherwise, I don't have anything else to present.
All right. Thank you very much, Mary and Lorraine, for being here. Do any of the commissioners have any questions or comments for the 2023 audited financial statements? Okay, hearing none. Mary, we will proceed to the 2025 proposed budget. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Chairman Whitlow. So tonight, happy to present to you the 2025 proposed budget. This was prepared at the direction of your Executive Director, Helen Mickelbrink, by myself and Lorraine Trotter, based on what's going on at the town and based on and with input from all the leadership team of the Town of Mead. So I'm going to start as I have previously. Probably haven't turned this on. Sure, I should know how to work the clicker when I come up here. Okay. So the budget schedule is similar every year. We start with the preliminary certification of assessed values from Weld County. We come and propose the budget here to the authority. We're presenting it to you. We'll schedule the public hearing for December 9th, and we'll be looking for those assessed values back from Weld County and to be able to certify any levies. I do know that the deadline to recertify the assessed values for Weld County is December 10th, and our meeting is December 9th, but they generally get it to us very early. So we should be fine with that. Still haven't figured out how to turn it on. There it is. I got it now. All right. Little history on the Mead Urban Renewal Authority, just to remind you all why we're here. Mura was created in 2016. It sunsets in 2041. The main purpose is to revitalize blighted or underdeveloped areas and to restore economic vitality in areas of the town. The map here is the Mura boundary list. The bright gold is developed areas, and the lighter gold color shows agricultural areas that are within the Mura boundaries. Mainly, we've concentrated in those 3 areas. In the highlighted areas, that's where we've seen some work with Mura. And since 2016, Mura has participated with downtown businesses, with the branding and signage project for the town of Mead, with the 3rd and Welker intersection, and with some downtown improvements, including parking and alley improvements near the community center. So our downtown looks a whole lot different than it did in 2016. And this is a good, a lot of the economic, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm not prepared for this one. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Thanks for coming. Mura is going to help some of the projects that we're doing. The public improvements have made a big impact on businesses coming into town and businesses being able to do business down there. So areas of opportunity for Mura, again, these were all on our map, but it's where we're currently seeing development and where we have interest coming in. We see interest for additional development near the Quick Trip site at 66 and I-25. We still want to work on some business park signage in I-25 and Highway 66 to clearly identify that as the town of Mead and provide more opportunities there. Downtown Mead is doing really well, right? With Ziggy's going in, Agfinity, the 3rd and Welker project. Now we're seeing Mead Town Center is being completed. The Scooter Hinge property by Mead Victory is being rehabilitated. And those are going to bring some good opportunities here to the town of Mead. Another opportunity is at I-25 and the interchange at County Road 38, which we're working on with CDOT and a developer up there. The 1601 process to maybe get an interchange up there. So the Mura beginning fund balance is $4.8 million. The ending fund balance is going to be about the same, $4.1 million. We forecast some money to do some projects in Mead, about $1 million or $2 million. But right now, there's none that have come to us that we're really actively working with. The revenues, as you know, come from the TIF revenue comes from property taxes. There's an administrative fee and some interest income shown in the budget. And then the expenditures are the TIF revenue sharing. TIF advance is agreements that we've made with some other parties. We have one still with Anytime Fitness. The branding and signage project, as I already mentioned, and any other project that could come along, right? We want to be ready to act if something comes along. That's all I have on an overview of it. You do have the budget in front of you. And Lorraine Trotter with Professional Management Solutions is online and was going to go over that. Lorraine, you ready?
I am. Yes, I am. Can you hear me? Yes. Good evening, Chair Whitlow. This is Lorraine. Can you hear me and see me?
We can hear you, we can't see you.
Well,
Hold on. We're getting there. Hopefully.
Lorraine, I see your name, but not your face.
I don't see anywhere to add the camera.
All right. Well, do you want to just move forward? Because we can hear you very clearly.
Okay. Good evening, Chair Whitlow and Commissioners. I'm sorry I cannot be there with you tonight. I'm out of state traveling. And I'm sorry you can't see me at all. I perhaps we can get that worked out between now and the next couple of meetings for the board. But tonight, to go over the expenditures and revenues that you have before you in your budget. You've got, as usual, several years of information shown here, the actual amounts for 2022 and for 2023, the budgeted amount for 2024, which of course is still in progress, and so estimates for where that's projected to end by the end of December, and then the forecast for the budget for the 2025 year. And you can see the fund balance is going from 3.5 million to 3 million to 3.3 million to hopefully to about 4.8 million by the end of this year. And a lot of that has to do not so much with fluctuations in revenues, although they have shown general increases since 2022 and kind of a leveling off lately, but still coming in every year at between, almost $4 million projected for this year and next year. But the expenditures that are budgeted have not always been needed. So you're always poised to give a TIF advance, a tax increment financing amount that the authority is receiving over and above the base year that you could give for a qualifying project. And until you have one, the budget continues to be about 1.1 million, but very little is being spent. So that's why your fund balance is growing, and you have it there to use in the future for any projects to help spur on continued growth in the MURA. Under the expenditures, there's always a smallish portion of certain administrative salaries, Helen's and Mary's, for instance, that get charged to the MURA. And then you have your audit and consulting fees and county treasurer's fees for collecting those taxes for you. And then you have about 100,000 budgeted for a capital project if you were to do something to improve a certain area in the authority's boundaries. And then also another $1 million budgeted for other projects that you would see fit to fund. With that, that's what brings you to the 4.1 million that's projected at the end of 2025, because it would show spending big amounts on the capital improvements and on a TIF advance for qualifying projects. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thanks, Lorraine, and thanks for being with us. Even sorry that you're traveling. Do any of the commissioners have any questions or comments for Lorraine? Commissioner James or Commissioner McConnell, do you have any questions or comments for Lorraine?
I have no questions, Madam Chair.
Thank
I do
you.
not have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Okay, Lorraine, thank you very much. We appreciate your time on this. We will talk to you in a few minutes.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next is our public comment. Public comment for this agenda is for any item, whether it is on the agenda or not. We ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes. If you're with us virtually, please indicate by raising your hand option if you wish to speak. Is there anyone here in the room that would like to speak during this MURA public comment period? Okay, Mary, is there anyone online that would like to speak during the MURA comment period?
No.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. We'll move on to consent agenda. The consent agenda contains items which are considered routine and are enacted in one motion and vote. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
A motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Mary.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Cartwright,
Yes.
Commissioner Hurnak, Commissioner Schranz,
Yes.
Commissioner Adams,
Yes.
Commissioner Parr,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris,
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell,
Yes.
Chairman Whitlow.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion carries. Thank you, staff, for putting this consent agenda for us together. And do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Parr,
Yes.
Commissioner Cartwright,
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris,
Yes.
Commissioner Adams,
Yes.
Commissioner Hurnak, Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Schranz.
Yes.
Chairman Whitlow.
Yes, thank you very much. The October 14th, 2024 special meeting of the Town of Mead Urban Renewal Authority is now adjourned at 5:45. Thank you, Commissioner James and Commissioner McConnell and Commissioner Hernak for being with us tonight.
We will see you back on December 9th.
December 9th will be our
Public
next
hearing.
meeting together.
Stop the recording. So-
Thank you. Good evening. Today is Monday, October 14th, and the time now is 5:46. And I'll call to order the special meeting of the Mead Elevation 25 General Improvement District. In accordance with the town's remote participation and remote meeting policy adopted by the Board of Trustees on March 13th, 2023 by resolution number 21-R-2023, remote participation will be allowed. The meeting link has been provided on the town's website designated posting place 24 hours prior to this meeting. Mary, roll call, please.
Chairman Whitlow,
Here.
Commissioner Cartwright,
Here.
Commissioner Adams,
Here.
Commissioner Broadhead, Commissioner Harris,
Here.
Commissioner Parr,
Here.
Commissioner Schranz.
Here.
Mayor Whitlow or Chair Whitlow, today is Monday, October 14th, 2024, and you do have a quorum.
Thank you, Mary, very much. Everyone, please join me in a pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excuse me. Next is review and approve agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda tonight? Okay, hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move to approve the agenda for tonight.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Mary.
Commissioner Schranz.
Yes.
Commissioner Adams,
Yes.
Commissioner Parr,
Yes.
Commissioner Cartwright,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris,
Yes.
Chair Whitlow.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Motion carries. We have an agenda for this evening. Our next agenda item is our informational item, our 2025 proposed budget presentation by our Administrative Services Director, Mary Strutt.
Thank you. I don't have a presentation tonight for you for the Elevation 25 General Improvement District because it is a brand new district. Just collecting the tax revenue and new expenditures. So you have that with you. I'll have Lorraine go through the information with you. There she is.
There you are.
We can see you. But you're muted.
There we go. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Chair Whitlow and Commissioners. Can everyone see and hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. We have a small budget for the Mead Elevation 25 General Improvement District. It's in your packet and it shows that there was no beginning fund balance for 2024 since this was a new district. But during 2024, some a little bit of taxes are coming in and a little bit of fees to pay for the treasurer's fees for collecting them. And so you'll have a small fund balance to begin with. It's estimated that about 30,000 in taxes may be levied during the year, in which case you may be using those to pay for services provided by staff, county treasurer, or projects that you may have at the outset of this general improvement district. Other than that, there's not much to say. It's pretty general round numbers that have been budgeted for this first active year. And I'd be happy to answer any other questions that you may have. And it would end you with this fund balance of about $5,000.
Thank you, Lorraine. Do any of the commissioners have any questions or comments for Lorraine tonight? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Lorraine, very much. See you back on December 9th for this budget, hopefully to be approved. Thank you. See you in a few minutes.
Okay.
Okay, we'll move on to our public comment period. This public comment period is for any item, whether it is on the agenda or not. We ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes. If you're with us virtually, please indicate by raising your hand. And if you wish to speak, is there anyone here in the room that would like to speak to the board, the commissioners on Elevations 25 GID? Okay, see none. Anyone with us virtually, Mary, that would like to speak during the Elevations 25 GID proposed budget? Okay, moving on. Next is our consent agenda. The consent agenda contains items which are considered routine and are acted in one motion and vote. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as is.
Second?
Thank you. Roll call, please, Mary.
Commissioner Parr,
Yes.
Commissioner Cartwright,
Yes.
Commissioner Schranz. Commissioner Adams,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris. Yes. Chairman Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you very much. Motion carries. Thank you for staff for getting these minutes to us in a consent agenda. Next is adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second?
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Harris. Yes. Commissioner Parr,
Yes.
Commissioner Adams,
Yes.
Commissioner Cartwright,
Yes.
Commissioner Schranz.
Yes.
And Chairman Whitlow.
Yes. The October 14th, 2024 special meeting of the Mead Elevation 25 General Improvement District is now adjourned at 5:51. Thank you very much for your participation.
All right, I'm going to go ahead.
October 14th, 2024, the time now is 6 PM, and I will call to order this regular meeting of the Town of Mead Board of Trustees. In accordance with the town's remote participation and remote meeting policy adopted by the Board of Trustees on March 13th, 2023, by resolution number 21R 2023, remote participation will be allowed. The meeting link has been provided on the town's website designated posting place 24 hours prior to this meeting. I'd like to remind everyone present, both in person and virtually, of the town's general guidelines for public comment at open meetings and public hearing. The guidelines are available online and at the entry table. There are 2 public comment opportunities on the agenda for persons in attendance at Town Hall to address the board. The first is limited to items on the agenda. The second public comment opportunity allows any subject, whether it is on the agenda or not, to be addressed. Mary, roll call, please.
Mayor Whitlow.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cartwright.
Here.
Trustee Adams.
Here.
Trustee Broadhead. Trustee Harris. Here. Trustee Parr.
Here.
Trustee Schranz.
Here.
Mayor Whitlow, today is Monday, October 14th, 2024, and you do have a quorum.
Thank you, Mary. Please join me in a moment of silence for all of the victims of Hurricane Milton. Thank you very much for your time. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to a review and approve agenda. Are there any changes to tonight's agenda? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda as is?
I'll move to approve the agenda as is.
Second.
Thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Trustee Schranz. Trustee Adams.
Yes.
Trustee Parr.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cartwright.
Yes.
Trustee Harris.
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes, thank you very much. Motion carries. We have an agenda for this evening. I will turn the microphone over to our town manager for her report.
Thank you, Mayor and trustees. You have my report. There are a couple things I'd like to mention. First of all, I know I sound like a broken record, but signs in the right of way. Please remember, anybody who's listening, whether they be candidates or painters or people who do concrete work, you can't put signs in public right of way. Staff removed at least 20 on Friday of signs that were placed in the public right of way. If there's any questions, just please have them contact the town. I'm happy to answer the questions. We can pull up a map, but typically right of way extends at least 3 or 4 feet from the edge of the pavement. So if in doubt, please call because signs are expensive. And we will pick them up because they are considered litter in the right of way. So I want to make you aware, we've put out on social media, you're aware that we are closing Third Street over here from the 18th through the 22nd continuously to work on the railroad tracks. They have changed that closure to 7 a.m. on the 18th. So please be aware, there will be signed detour routes. The detour routes are the frontage road, County Road 38. We are not routing people through downtown. And basically, if you're coming to the school, you should be able to get there and back as long as you're going along Welker. But it will be disruptive. I'm not saying it won't. We tried to do it last week on Friday and Monday of this week because they were holidays. But unfortunately, you have to line everything up, and it's the railroad replacing the panels. And then we're also taking the opportunity to run the water lines under there. So we only have one closure. But then finally on your agenda, you'll see the long awaited, drum roll please, Third and Welker project. We hope you will award the bid tonight. But that is just the beginning of what will be the project that will see quite a bit of traffic disruption. But I always talk about the disruption and I never talk about all the good things that are going to come out of the intersection. So we're all going to come out of this on the other end a lot happier, but it's that process between now and then that will be arduous at times. So that's all I have on my updates to my report. Do you have any questions?
Questions or comments, Herman?
A question. The closures for Third Avenue, how far north are you putting signs up that the road's going to be closed?
I'm going to have Erica address that.
So right now we have just a couple variable message boards downtown announcing the closure, but during the closure, we're going to start at Berthoud.
Good.
So, and there'll be one at the Berthoud, let's see, is that 56?
Yeah.
We'll have the posted detour, which will start at 38. We'll also have another one at 34.5 over to County Road 5 to try and catch as many people
terrific.
before they get downtown.
That's terrific. That's what I was hoping for.
I had a quick question, Helen. So they're doing all the gutter and pavement over there for the community center and the parking lot. They're doing all that, but they're not doing the street side. Is the street side part of the Third and Welker?
When you say street side.
They're not doing any, I don't see them doing any curb gutter on this side along Welker adjacent to what the building will be. So I'm just curious
Yeah.
if that's part of that project or
Yes.
if that's part of Third and Welker's project.
That's part of Third and Welker's
Okay.
project.
All right. Okay.
But did you notice steel started going up today?
Okay, anything else for Helen? Okay, thanks very much. Okay, we'll move on to our informational item for tonight's our 2025 proposed budget presentation. Will be presented by our Administrative Services Director, Mary Strutt, and our Lorraine Trotter from Professional Management Solutions. I will turn the microphone over to them.
Thank you, Mayor and trustees. Here tonight to present to you the proposed budget for 2025. Again, the proposed budget was done under the guidance of Town Manager Helen Mickelbrink, prepared mainly by myself and Lorraine Trotter, Professional Management Solutions, but with the help of the leadership team here at the Town of Mead, input from the Board of Trustees at your retreat and at meetings throughout the year. So hopefully you'll be impressed with what we have for you tonight. So again, I'm going to start with the schedule. Our board retreat was on June 17th, 2024. We went through future projects and started to discuss the 2025 budget at that time. Since that time, one thing that we did in July is we started to implement ClearGov budgeting software. So the budget's going to look a little bit different for you tonight. It's been a little bit of a learning curve for us here on staff, but once we get all of our information input, we do expect it to be a much nicer product moving forward for the budget. It actually produces some really nice graphs and charts and even a budget book, which is a digital budget book to go on our website. So it's all part of our accessibility and transparency projects we've been working on. So the department heads and all the leadership team submitted information on their projects that were going on. We've had several reviews of that at the staff level, and we have prepared a draft budget here for you tonight. We are prepared to do any work sessions or answer any further questions that the board has over the next couple of months. And we have the public hearing scheduled to adopt that budget on December 9th. Once again, we are expecting the final certified assessed values from the county by December 10th, but they do generally get them to us at least a week early. Okay, so I said we started with the board retreat. I just have some quick notes up there of what we did at the board retreat. These are some of the things we talked about. The red highlighted ones are the ones that are moving forward, that the board wanted to move forward as priorities for 25. Capital projects, quite a few of them you'll see in the budget. The intersection projects, community center and such. The trails master plan and comprehensive plan, that's moving forward. Funding for the police was discussed in detail at the board retreat. That's moving forward with a tax initiative on the ballot in November. We talked a little bit about art in the roundabouts as part of the improvements that are going on and the 9.5 High Plains Boulevard project. We also talked a little bit about residential development, commercial development, other things about 2024 election, and to start planning for what's coming next once we get these big ones out of the way. So I'm going to start with our 2024 accomplishments. In 2024, we were able to use the 1% sales and use tax to make some street improvements. Feather Ridge was done this year along with, what was the other one? Feather Ridge. Hunter's Ridge had some work done, but what's the one up there? Willow Road. What's that neighborhood? I can't come up with it right now. All right. North of Valeview. Anyways, somebody will come up with it. Okay, park improvements. We've done some park improvements this year in 2024. Lake Hollow. All right. You get the prize. All right. Park improvements. There were some improvements at several parks around, some redoing of the resurfacing of the tennis courts, basketball courts, electricity at Mead Ponds was a big one. We've expanded our economic development with Built for Mead, hiring a business and marketing specialist in 2024 who is taking that Built for Mead project even further and meeting with some local business owners and future business owners here in the town. So happy to see that moving forward. Community policing strategy and outreach. The police department has continued to do their outreach at several events and with the Citizens Academy, getting out there and meeting the public. We've worked a lot on transparency and accessibility. Part of that is because the state of Colorado is making us do it on our website. We had to make a lot of that accessible. Lorelei did a fantastic job with her team of getting that through. I think we're way further ahead of most of the other municipalities that I've seen. So we've been working on some more transparency issues, finally got the Laserfish web portal up and going so that residents or citizens can search previous resolutions, board packets, and agendas. And we continue to add more documents to that public portal every week. And then we've had several strategic partnerships coming to fruition this year. The Photo Mountain View Fire, High Plains Library, the two of them with trying to get their facilities here in Mead. Some partnerships with Weld County and developers to build Weld County Road 9.5 or High Plains Boulevard. We've been partnering with Berthoud on 7 north of 38. So a lot going on. I wanted to mention these multi-year capital projects here because can't quite say they're accomplishments in 2024 because they're moving forward into 2025, but we've got a lot of work going on. You'll notice that all of these projects listed here are out of the impact funds. So this is a way that development has been paying its own way and has been paying for most of these projects. We've also done a great job. The staff has done a fantastic job of getting grants to assist in these projects. But I do have the projects listed The police impact fund, there's been some improvements, building improvements at the police facility. Again, some in 23, some in 24, and some in 25. Municipal Facilities Impact Fund has the community center. That actually had some funds in 2022, so that's been a while in the works. But 22 or 20, 22, 23, 24, and now 25, we expect the bulk of the construction to be completed in 25 and expect a grand opening mid-year to fall. Transportation projects, those are the big ones going on. The 3rd and Welker intersection is on there. Safe routes to school as part of that program. The Highway 66 County Road 7 underpass, we've been doing some work there. Hope that it'll start in 25. I've got a little mark there that'll probably go into 2026 also. Main Street parking lot and alley, that again is being done as part of the community center project. And the Weld County Road 34 bridge design was done mostly this year, and the construction we expect to see next year. Segment 5, I-25 enhancements. Actually, that's probably the wrong number in there. The $1 million is our contribution. We're using those funds towards the 9.5 partnership with Weld County and the developers. It's a $6 million project. Weld County is doing $3 million of it. Developers $1 million a piece, and $1 million, the last $1 million would come from us, but you will see that in the transportation fund budget. Parks and open space, still getting the Liberty Ranch Park and restrooms done. The design was done this year. We expect them installed next year. And the Gold Star Memorial, same, the design was done and we've ordered the memorial and expect to be able to install it and finish the site in 2025. So those are some things that have spanned the years. So some things that can affect our 2025 budget. And I'm going to say, I didn't put any of these in the budget. As an effect, we're just going to have to wait and see what they are, right? On November 5th, we could have 1 to 3 new board members coming in. There is a police funding sales tax. We did not budget for the police funding sales tax. We actually budgeted as if it would fail and with the funds that we have today. Marijuana, same thing. Did not do any budgeting for that because again, we don't know if it will pass. If it passes the first part of the year, we'll be working on regulations for it anyways, and then maybe some income would come in from it later in the year. St. Vrain Valley School District bond issue, again, we don't know what's going on with that. That could affect our the number of SROs we have or any partnership we have with the school district. And then the economic impact of federal and state election issues. There's all sorts of stuff going on, and there's, you know, the president is up for election, and so it can impact us in a number of ways. But we went with what we know, and hopefully that will provide us with a really good budget. What we do know, with revenue, we budgeted the revenues, the property and sales tax revenues as no net gain, okay? Because we're really not clear yet what the legislative effect is on property taxes. We know that our assessed values have gone down a little bit. We know that the assessment rate has gone down a little bit. However, there is a backfill amount that the state is providing. So it's fiscally responsible to be conservative and use the lower numbers. Same with the sales tax. Most municipalities around have seen a slowdown of retail sales in 2024, ourselves included. Actually, our sales tax did pick up in both August and September of 2024, so that's pretty good news for us. And there's new retail potentially coming into the town in the next year, which could help our sales tax for sure. The new retail around the Quick Trip development, and again, near downtown Mead, again, as that Mead Town Center builds and gets ready to go, as Scooter Hinge by Mead Victory Investments gets completed, we should see some new retail in those places. Development, residential, I'm saying steady as what we've seen the last couple of years, and possibly some commercial along I-25. I have a slide for you. This slide is on the revenues portion. It does show our revenues for the past 4 years and then projected to 2025. Again, we're just sort of holding steady with the revenues. Property tax is the first one down slightly, down at the bottom. The light blue in the middle, sales tax, about the same. And this is just general fund, so it doesn't include that street improvement fund, 1% sales tax. Building and use tax, again, the little yellow part there, kind of small for building and use tax. Building permit fees, the orange. Green is franchise fees. Royalties is in there just a little bit. Our royalties have slipped a little bit with oil and gas. Oil and gas royalties have gone down, but we're still seeing some come in. And then the top piece is just all other revenues. This next slide is our building permits, residential building permits. I wanted to give you a history. In our budget, we only go back to 2022, but I left 2021 in there for one more year because that was our high of building permits, right? That 334. That was a pretty good year for building permits. It was a pretty good year for the revenues in Mead. Since then, we're pretty much at 100, right? 22, 23, and projected for 24 are 101, 108, and 100. Those are the listed developments up there. And then for 2025, we are predicting about the same. Our building permit tech, Anna, did go through the developments and look at what's available to be built, how many residential units are available, and about how many they've been building and predicted off of that. Impact fund revenues. So again, the impact fund revenues are affected by that development. So again, our high was in 2021 when we had a lot of development, 2020 and 2021. We see a slight increase in 2025 in impact funds. That's actually probably because of the impact funds just keep going up every year. There's a slight increase based on economic indicators. We did budget for 4 commercial developments. O'Reilly Auto Parts is looking pretty good. The Mountain View Fire Facility is looking pretty good. And then 2 other buildings, one at elevation 25 and possibly one at that AMK annexation. So those 4 are what was considered in the budget. The others have more infrastructure work to be done before they could even go to construction and get a building permit. So while something could go really quickly through the process and jump in there, this again is a conservative estimate of what it takes to make it through the process. So some more assumptions for the 2025 budget is capital projects. We are continuing with all those capital projects that were mentioned on that previous slide, the 3rd and Walker intersection, community center. That community center is opening in 2025. You'll see in your general fund, we did add a department for community center, Department 46. So we did start some of the costs for operations under there. I didn't get them all under there because it's probably not going to open till at least fall. So I'm not going to budget for the full year. And our staffing is here anyways. We're hiring 1 new staff member there probably to begin with, or maybe some part-time people. Internal process improvements, we're going to keep going with what we need to be doing there. Again, continuing to work with Laserfish and getting our records available to the public. There's more that we need to do with accessibility. So those are going to continue on. Staffing in 2025, we are looking to add an HR manager position. That was included in the compensation structure. It was explained in there, the need for that. Currently, we use a consultant for HR services, and 2 clerks here do some HR work. The 2 clerks are finance HR clerks, and they're not specifically trained in HR. So as we get bigger, we are finding the need for an HR manager. You know that we hit 50 employees about 2 years ago. That meant that now we are required to offer FMLA. So some of the other issues that are going on as we get bigger are kind of requiring this HR manager. I'd kind of like to ask, we've got it in the budget, and I'd kind of like to see if there's a thumbs up at how the board feels about that. Because if you're okay with it, we'd like to start posting the position and getting it going as soon as possible so that we could hire in 2025. Are there any thoughts on that?
Oh, I guess my question would be, what do we currently pay for our consultant? And what are we looking to pay a full-time person? Just so I have some numbers.
Yeah, our consultant's contract is 90,000 for the year.
Okay,
And I believe the span for the HR manager is around 70 to 110. Is that right?
I think it's about 78 to 100, somewhere in that range. We'd probably be hiring.
so the 90,000 for our current consultant doesn't include the two people that are internal that are helping with
Correct.
that
No,
either?
no, those are all existing employees. That
Right.
90's on top
Okay,
of
so
that.
they don't bill separately for their time with
No.
HR. So,
No.
okay, so then it sounds like from a cost perspective, that may make sense.
It's about a wash, I
Yeah,
would say
about the same.
financially, but we only get a limited number of hours a week and the person isn't on site.
Mm.
So what we're talking about is having somebody, we moved to this model of having consultants for finance and for HR probably 4 years ago. We're starting to outgrow it.
Mhm.
So that's the reason why we'd like to move forward with bringing it in-house.
No, I mean, there's a lot of reasons that having someone in-house is better than a consultant. So I understand that. I just wanted to hear the numbers.
Yeah,
me
I'd
and
say
for
it's a
everyone else.
wash.
So about a wash.
Mhm.
Okay, then I'm fine with it.
I have one more question. Does that include benefits?
That does not. That's the salary. So the benefits would be on top of that.
Okay, so it's actually going to be more because when we add the benefits back in, it's going to take us above the 90?
Yeah, but a lot of times we have to pay more than the 90, for example, we don't have a fixed cost on the HR. It's an hourly billing. So, and as we've had, particularly in police, you often have matters that require a lot more involvement with HR.
Right.
When we got the police department and then we ramped up to where it is, there's just naturally more issues. So sometimes we go over that 90 because we're paying an hourly rate. That's kind of an estimate. I mean, at the end of the day, I say it's a wash. It could end up a little bit more, but I would argue the cost, that 90 is going to keep going up with more issues that come up with not just police, but everything. We have more public works people. Now we're going to have another offsite facility over here. So it's kind of a business transition that we're talking about. But I would say for the foreseeable future, it's a wash, maybe a little bit more to bring it in-house.
I'm very much in support of it.
What about you?
Another
Go
question
ahead.
though. Are we under contract with our current person that we can't, like, I just want to make sure we're not like locked if we don't get somebody by the end of the year, then what happens at the beginning of next year type of thing?
Well, their contract expires at the end of December,
Okay.
which is another reason why we'd like to kind of get ahead of it, because it takes a while to hire
Right.
anybody. It probably takes 6 weeks. If we're fortunate, we could get somebody in maybe in the end of November.
Okay,
But-
so you think we can get this done before the end of the year so that we
Yeah,
can make
Yeah.
that transition and
If-
not have to?
yeah, I would just as soon have it where we had somebody and we didn't need to keep that.
Yeah, okay.
David? Good? Chris? Okay. All right. Good direction on that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that direction. Under staffing, the other thing I have is community center staffing. We do have a single position as a front desk person for the community center in the budget. And we'll also have more part-time employees along with the community center. We're not asking to hire those today because obviously the building's not built. So we'll look at those when the building comes along. The other thing that we're doing is a benefit review. We've talked about the benefit review before. And again, two things that I would love some input from the board for. I expect to bring to you the employee handbook later on this year. And just want to know if you want any more discussion on a couple of these issues that we have under benefits. The first one is we're trying to provide some benefits that don't cost us anything. So there's a couple of quick, easy ones that we can do. We started doing College Invest a couple of years ago, providing that as an opportunity for our employers. We'll hook them up with College Invest. Employees can make a direct withdrawal from their paycheck to College Invest to set up their account. And the really nice thing about it is it's portable. They can take it with them. And there's no cost to the town of Mead with that. Two things that we're looking at this year. We looked at Aflac last year. Aflac is a other types of insurance provider, right? Again, no cost to the town of Mead. They just come here and they offer it. And again, the nice thing about it is it's portable. If an employee is a member of Aflac, they can take it with them if they leave here and go to another. So we're going to bring that to our benefit fair for all employees again this year. We've been asked about pet insurance. So we've been researching pet insurance, found some pet insurance. Again, we're not going to, there's no cost to the town of Mead to do that, and it's completely portable. They're just looking to get our employees together to try to offer that service. So we'll have that available too. The two other changes that I'm looking to make that I'd kind of like your input on is, one is longevity pay. A lot of other municipalities do a longevity pay, like a bonus at 5 years, 10 years. We'd like to add that to our benefit program. It's not a huge cost because it's a one-time payment generally and not an increase in salary, so it doesn't go over time. So I'm looking to put that program together. I'm looking at other programs that Frederick has and Firestone has and other municipalities to try to find what would work here in Mead, but I'd like to bring that forward. I'd also like to bring forward, the other one is our PTO benefits. So we do paid time off. That includes both sick pay and vacation pay together, right? It's one pool that employees get. As most of you know, the way that's worked the whole time I've been working is you generally get one amount when you're hired. It bumps up a little bit at 2 years. It bumps up more at 5 years. It bumps up more at 10 years. That's very common how they work. However, we're having right now a situation with employees where they don't stay very long. There's not a lot of people that stay 5 years or 10 years. So a lot of employers are moving to a little bump at 2 years and a little bump at 3 years and a little bump at 4 years and a little bump at 5 years. The amounts at 5 years and 10 years, I wouldn't recommend changing. I'd just put smaller bumps in between there. If somebody's here, 2 months, 2 years, 6 months, maybe knowing they'll get a little more vacation time in 6 months might give them the incentive to stay just a little bit longer. So again, our biggest cost is in training employees. And so we want to try to keep them as long as we can. And so again, this is another strategy that I'm seeing from other municipalities that I'd like to try to implement. So I'd like to know if you have any thoughts, questions, comments on those.
But after you've done more research
Yeah, it'll come to you with the handbook. I guess my question is, do you want a whole big question and answer discussion work session on it, or just a briefing on it with the handbook of what I found and what the recommendations are?
Just a briefing is fine.
It's a black and white issue.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Thank you. All right. So that brings us to the 2025 budget, and we're going to, again, we bring all of our budget items back to the board priorities of responsible growth, reliable infrastructure, public safety, fiscal stability, and connected community. So some things we're looking at under responsible growth this year are a groundbreaking for the community center, woohoo, and the downtown alley and parking lot. We're also going to pave this town hall parking lot over here. That should help. We're doing collaborations with CDOT on the I-25 North Express Lanes construction and that 1601 process. Still working on getting that interchange at 38. And we're going to facilitate the construction of Weld County Road 9.5 and High Plains Boulevard with the developers and Weld County. Reliable infrastructure. That Weld County Road 34 bridge is going to be constructed this year. You'll see that in the budget. It is about $1.7 million, but there's a pretty big grant to go with that too, that you'll see as a revenue in the transportation fund. Construction of the 3rd and Welker intersection improvement project. And again, you have the PSA on your consent agenda for that today. So that should be moving forward. And then continued collaboration with Berthoud on paving County Road 7. Public safety, safe routes to school construction is going to be done as part of that intersection. Police facility, we're working on the design. Chief Newbanks did get a grant to work on the design for a police facility. So he's going to be working on that in 2025. And then the new fire station at Liberty Ranch, we hope to see that constructed in 2025. Not our project that we're doing, but again, that's a big project here for the town of Mead. Fiscal stability, Weld County Road 7 and Highway 66 underpass. We did try to pursue a grant last year for that project and got turned down for it. So we're still looking at other opportunities for funding of it. We do have one grant already, but it is a big project moving forward. We're going to do a review of the impact fees, especially the police impact fee, to make sure it's appropriate moving forward. And we're going to continue to research funding opportunities for a police facility. Connected community, completing the Gold Star Memorial and playground replacements at North Creek and Founders Park. Those are both those. So that's a lot of work up there at Founders Park this year and at that end of town. North Creek has been on the schedule for a couple of years. It got bumped, right? So it's 28-year-old play structure. So it's time. Founders Park, the plan there is to replace the play structure and perhaps put in some exercise stations. Not sure if we can fund both of those in 25, but we'll see how we do. Initiate the roundabout art project. This is going to have to be started, right? To get some RFPs out there, get some plans of what to do in the roundabouts before construction starts, so we know what we want. High Plains Library, we're looking for them to do their construction down at the Liberty Ranch site, and then further economic development with moving the Built for Mead project further. And then looking even further, 2026 and beyond, there's always going to be these regional transportation projects. I-25 is going to continue to be working on their segment 5, or CDOT's going to be working on segment 5. County Road 9.5 eventually is going to make it north to Berthoud. That pedestrian underpass at County Road 7. The multi-jurisdictional trail down south of the high school. That's pretty exciting that that'll move forward. And then County Road 7 north of 38 eventually, if we design it and if there's enough need and if there's funding, then we're going to have to look at building it. We probably need to look next at a regional park. This was discussed at the board retreat in June, whether it's at Liberty Ranch or Ames. Again, continued economic development and a police facility if we get that design done. So this is the 2025 general fund expenditures by department. So you'll see all the departments listed there and their piece of the pie. I want to say one thing right now about the budget that you'll see. ClearGov produces for us the budget. And in the general fund, generally we have it sorted by department and then by expenses. We've added categories of spending now. So they're personal services, commodities, contractual services. Unfortunately, at this first tweak, it was sorting it by those services first and by department second, rather than department first and category second. So I did print off for you the budget by department as you've had them in the past. And you'll see right back behind it in your handbook is how it came off of the budget book. So you have that also. So, but I just wanted to point out this expenditures by department. I did notice when making this slide today, I updated the numbers from 2024 to 2025. And the police on there, the yellow, is now 33% of our budget. Last year, it was 27% of our budget. So again, the costs continue to go up with the police, salaries. There's a lot in there for training, a lot of training requirements for the police. So again, that's the reason for the sales tax initiative. All right, that's my overview. Now Lorraine's got the full budget. Any questions for me before Lorraine gets into the details?
Questions for Mary? All right. Thank you, Mary.
All right, Lorraine, you're back up and we'll see you.
All right. Thank you, Mary, and good evening, Mayor and trustees. Mary did a very in-depth job of what's included in the budget this year. So I'll do a quicker job. I'm just going through where the the line items show this. But starting with your budget summary, the page 1 in your packet is a nice little chart that shows you the 9 funds that the town has. You have the general fund, of course, and that's where all the main operations of the town are accounted for. And you always have sufficient revenues and to match your expenditures to, and therefore you keep a budget that shows the same amount of expenditures as you've got revenues going in. You end up usually getting more revenues and often spending less expenditures, so the fund balance goes up at year end, and you're up to a $7 million fund balance in the general fund. So that's a very positive amount. You have 2 special revenue funds, the street improvement fund, which is a special sales tax that can only be spent on street improvements and maintenance. And so you see there, you've got 780,000 starting the year and revenues and expenditures going in and out to leave you with about 400,000. Now, unlike the general fund where you want to be sure that you have a decent fund balance in case something were to go awry with your revenues, you could still provide the expenditures for the basic services that the town must provide, such as police, building inspection, things of that nature. The street improvement fund does a fair amount of maintenance, but you can spend this down however you wish, using all that sales tax at any time for the routine maintenance and or for improvements. Conservation Trust Fund is similar. It's a special revenue that comes from the state lottery's shared funds that go back to communities. And it can only be used on parks and certain recreation projects. And you're trying to spend to build that up. You've got 159,000 estimated to start the year, with revenues coming in and a lot of it being spent down on projects that Mary mentioned in her slides. You have 4 impact fee funds. These are kind of a combination of a special revenue and a capital and project funds, because they include the impact fees that development pays to pay for itself that are special revenues that can only be spent for that designated purpose of capital that's needed because of growth. So you've got the police impact fund, the municipal facilities fund, the transportation fund, and the Parks and Open Space Fund. These are the 4 impact fee funds that are still active. There's data in this book that shows back to the actual for 2022 and 23 when you had some of these other funds that were still active that are showing blank on the summary page. Then you have your capital improvement fund, and this is where you have decided to put money aside for future capital needs that don't have to be caused by growth. They could be caused by growth, and you could use the impact funds or the capital project fund. But if it's not caused by growth, you need to use a capital project fund to show things that you're going to do, like paving a parking lot, for instance, an existing parking lot. The enterprise fund that you have is run like a business. It's not tax-based. It's based on user fees for the services provided. And you have about 1.6 in the beginning funds available here, revenues and expenditures, including some capital projects going out to bring that ending fund balance down to 1.3. That's a look at it at a glance. You don't see any real unusual moves here, and I think you know the reasons behind the movement that you do see. So that should give you some confidence to just rely on these totals if that's all the detail that you were interested in. These next pages are the departmental amounts that Mary mentioned that she printed out that show things in the normal order of line items, and rather than grouped by categories, a whole department at a time. The final budget book will have things in the more useful, traditional way you're used to seeing it throughout. But generally, you can glance along the bottom lines of these departments and see where the amounts went from year to year and see what's changed up above in the line items if you wish. But in the general fund, pretty much everything is very stable, except for the things that Mary highlighted in her slides. You've got in the Board of Trustees a few things that are increased here for public outreach, for instance, but generally your salaries, et cetera, are pretty static. Police, as Mary mentioned, is going up quite a bit, and you'll see most of those increases are in the personnel related, personnel related line items. Community development is 25 budget is similar to the 24 budget. Both of them include monies for consulting fees for the comp plan update. And so this is, I'm sorry, wrong plan, for your plan update. And this is about 235,000, 225,000 that's budgeted for that to begin in 2025 now. The rest of these departments don't have a lot of changes in them until you get to Community Center, number 40, Fund for Department 46. And this is the new department that Mary mentioned that we've established so that you can track the new community center and the cost of running it. And therefore, all the recreation programs and costs are going to be broken out and charged to this department rather than combined in community engagement. Community engagement will be other items more related to outreach and information and public information, economic development, that sort of thing. So you have on the right here about $391,000 in dollars. You'll see that the community engagement has gone down a bit. Engineering is fairly close to where it had been. And I'm going to just skip forward to the community engagement slide, which is the one that shows about 712,000 being in community engagement, as opposed to the 2024 budget, which was close to 850,000. So it's gone down. You do have your non-departmental, which is where we put things that don't really pertain just to a certain department. And this is where your salary adjustments are. And there's $275,000 budgeted here for salary adjustments within the departments, so that it depends on what each individual employee's raises come to based on perhaps their performance and longevity. And it would come out of this department when those are granted. In your general fund draft budget, I would like to go over the revenues a bit, because unlike the expenditures, these can be varying more and more. Mary mentioned that the property taxes and sales taxes are being conservatively estimated. And so when you just look across the total taxes line for this, you had like 6.3 million in 2022 actual, and you're still forecasting 7.1 for 2025. So there's a bit of an increase over time, but it's not as big of an increase as is projected for this year because of the uncertainties in those two main sources of revenue for the general fund. Hopefully they will come in stronger than predicted. Your intergovernmental revenue varies a bit when you get the mineral leases and the state severance taxes. Your licenses and permits are about the same from year to year, around the $500,000 level. Charges for services, roughly 500,000 budgeted for next year. And that's similar to what you've seen in the last 2 or 3 years. Other miscellaneous revenues can vary. And one of the big items here is your interest income. So interest has been very strong the past 2 years compared to 2022 as far as what you've received in revenue. A lot of this is due to the way you've changed managing your funds and having more in the local government investment pools than you did in the old days. But interest rates also will impact this. And again, with the election, you just there's no telling where interest rates will go next. Your grants can go up and down from year to year, and you are sensational at getting grants here at the town of Mead. And so for 2025, you have 352,000 budgeted in general fund grants, including a Main Street grant and certain police grants and a land use code grant. So that's the main issues in the general fund that I wanted to take a look at. The expenditures, I we'll skip forward. It's kind of interesting to look at the personal services versus the contractual services and the capital outlay, et cetera, from department to department. And you feel free to look through that, and I'd be happy to answer any questions, or your staff can. And then when we get to the other funds, those were highlighted very well by Mary's slides about what the projections are for the projects that are going to be done by those funds. I won't go over those right now unless you wish me to, because the summary on the first page that we started with showed the revenues as well as the total expenditures that Mary highlighted the projects for, I think cover that. So with that, I think I'll pause and see if you have any questions or anything else you'd like me to delve into.
Questions, comments? I know, so much.
I'm
It's-
gonna need some time.
It's different this year, Lorraine. It's very different. I mean, thank you very much for putting all this together. I mean, it's what, 39 pages. So I don't know if any of the trustees would like to delve more into this. Okay.
Not
Now,
yet.
okay,
No.
I do have a question though. So are you saying that going forward, this is what we're gonna see? And we're not gonna get these ones? Just out of curiosity.
You're gonna see those. Those are the new ones.
Okay, okay. All right.
Yeah, those are the
Okay,
new
I was
ones.
Making sure what we were gonna see going forward. Okay.
Yeah, the first 10 pages or so are the old look of
You
pages,
used to see them.
the way you used to see them, starting on like page 12. That's the new budget book, starting on
You're
page
saying
12.
This isn't quite right in the way that it's showing it?
Well, for general fund, specifically for general fund, and specifically for general fund expenditures. If you go, I can show you the exact example when we get to expenditures. Let me see where they start. Sorry. So expenditures start on page 13. Oops.
They go.
And you'll notice it starts with personal services. And then it goes the admin department. And then the board of trustees, and then the police, and then community development. So it goes, and then it goes, once it goes through all the departments, then it goes to whatever the next one is, commodities, on page 16. And commodities, so commodities are things that you buy, right? And then it goes through admin, board of trustees. So it's just sorted wrong in my, right? It's sorted by category first, department second. I would rather have it sorted by department first, so all the police things are together and all the community engagement stuff is together,
More sense.
right? So so I wanted you to see it both ways so you understand what it is. Again, just with the implementation, I just haven't gotten to that fix yet.
So will it, by the time we get the final one, will you have it corrected, or is this?
I hope so.
Through the end of the year?
No, I hope so. I hope they'll fix that within the next week or two. Their tech support is about 2 weeks out, so.
All right.
I didn't really notice it till I actually printed it out last week. Then I was like, oh, I can't move that.
I do need to say, Mayor, that I can't take any credit for the work that you tried to credit me with, because Mary and the town staff, the department heads, have been instrumental in putting all of this together this year, moving to the new software, which has benefits that should be appreciated by the townsfolk, we hope. And that they really embraced it and took on a new software and started it up from scratch. At the same time, we did some account number changes to try to get things into a more typical chart of accounts. And so that complicated matters as well. That's something you don't see here, but it was made it a little bit rougher going for the department heads when they were working with both numbers. So they've been wonderful about getting all this information to Mary, and she has putting it together and giving me a nice presentation with the slideshow, as well as having these data points in the budget book at this point.
And
Thanks.
Mayor, if I
Yes,
could,
go ahead, Helen.
I would just like to add on to both what Mary and Lorraine said. The reason why we moved to ClearGov is number one, to make it easier to put the budget together, but ultimately, once we get the presentation where we want it to be, and there's always a transition when you go to new software, it's going to be much clearer. Graphics are much easier to produce, and it'll be more transparent. And I think the budget will be more digestible to the general public. Because if you go back and look at these other sheets, I mean, it's really hard for somebody who doesn't know government what they're looking for. The idea is to make it so anybody could look at it and understand it. And if you look at other communities that use it, they do really nice quarterly reports, and that's where we were trying to head to. We want to do more reporting that's relatively easy to put it out, but it's also accurate and clear. So that's our goal, ClearGov. That's the whole reason for it. So if you bear with us while we get through the kinks, I think when we get to the other side of this, we're all going to like it better.
I will say kudos to Lorraine though, because she made our budget so much better when she took it over than it was prior to her. So we can make it even better from there, but I mean, when Lorraine started making the budgets, whatever she did made everything so much easier to read, so.
Thank you.
All right, so next steps, Mary and Lorraine. Well, today is October 14th. Our deadline is December 9th. Prior to that, back up a week in case we need to do anything different. We know we've got this big 40-page document in front of us. I think we need to give us a deadline if you have questions or comments for Mary and Lorraine by a certain time frame. And I would say 2 weeks, I think, would be an ample time for us to get through this on our personal time, to get back to have questions for Mary and Lorraine. Does that satisfy you, trustee? Mary, Lorraine, does that satisfy? And then if we do have questions and comments or more than just a couple, then we could probably have maybe a work session prior to a meeting before we finalize everything. Would that be okay?
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Okay. Lorraine, would that be okay?
Yes, and I'm at your disposal. Mary's doing the heavy lifting on this.
All right. Thank you. Okay. So by next Board of Trustees meeting, please get your questions and comments to Mary and Lorraine and Helen, copy Helen, and then we'll go from there, guys. Okay. All right. Lorraine, thank you. Nice to see your face tonight.
Thank you.
Very
Likewise.
much. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Mary, for the presentation. Welcome.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you. Enjoy your time. Enjoy your night. All right. Thanks. Thank you, staff, for putting everything together and helping this make it a seamless effort for us to up here at the dais tonight. So thank you very much, all you department heads out there. Hello. Hello. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to a public comment. The board welcomes public comment at this time for any item on the agenda, for items not on the agenda during the second public comment, item number 9. The board will listen to your comments and to take them into consideration. If you desire a conversation, please email the board or the town manager or attend the monthly coffee with the mayor. If you wish to speak during this public comment, please adhere to the town's general guidelines. Please start by stating your full name and address for the record. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the Board of Trustees. If you are representing a group, you will have 5 minutes. Is there anyone here that would like to speak on an agenda item tonight? Okay, seeing no one coming forward, we'll move on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda contains items which are considered routine and are approved with one motion and vote. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I will move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Mary.
Trustee Adams,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cartwright,
Yes.
Trustee Harris,
Yes.
Trustee Shranz,
Yes.
Trustee Parr,
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you. Motion carries. This consent agenda is probably the tipping point in my 10 years here. So thank you. All right, we'll move on to, we don't have anything else, right? Okay. And I did roll call. Motion carries. Consent agenda done. Okay.
No new
It's
business.
just, yeah, it's going so fast.
Going right
It's
quick.
not even 7. Number 9, public comment. This brings to our second public comment, regular period for tonight. The comment period is in for any item, whether it is on the agenda or not. All other guidelines previously stated do apply. Would anyone like to comment at this time and speak to the Board of Trustees on anything? Sir, please join us. State your name and address for the record.
Colorado. Oh. Oh, okay, sorry. Did you hear me? Do you want me to restate that or? Marty Paniga, 227 Mulligan Lake Drive in Mead, Colorado. Marty Paniga. Yep, thank you. I'm here representing, I'm the president of the HOA in Mulligan Lake. Since 2012, I've lived there since 2010. In 2020, we spoke with Bo Hurtado, and he shared with us the Kimley Horn survey on the road conditions. I'm not sure if any of you have driven through our subdivision. It's my understanding that Manny and Erica have driven past or driven through there, and our roads are terrible. They're in terrible condition. The back in 2020, the findings of that stated that the Mulligan Lake roads conditions were poor to very poor. Okay. In 2024, we sent the proxy signed by the entire HOA requesting that the reconstruction of the roads get prioritized. We received a response from Erica, and we thank Erica. Thank you. We met with Manny. Within that note, it suggested that we meet with Manny, which we did. And it's understanding that Erica and Manny drove through the front entrance, and they both agreed, is my understanding, that the roads are not just in bad shape, they're terrible. In 2025, we're being told that the front entrance would be patched and slurried. Okay. In 2026, we're being told that the entire subdivision is scheduled to be completed. I just want to make sure, for the record, I just want to make sure that I understand with everything going on and seeing everything within the budget, that things get moved around. I'm trying to get it prioritized and making sure that you stick to your word and that our streets are done by 2026 at the very latest. And with the 2025, in hopes that that front entrance, if that's what you're going to do, is patch and slurry it because there's potholes in there even today, that at least that gets done in 2025. Thank you.
Well, thank you so very much for your comments, and thank you for staying through our budget. Thank you. All right. Anyone else here that would like to speak? Yes.
You should sit through my HOA meetings.
No, thank you. No, thank you. We all live here too. So we have our own. All right. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Next is elected official reports. Any of the town trustees would like to report on anything?
I have one.
Yep. Go ahead, Chris.
I'd like to thank the Chamber of Commerce for hosting the candidate forum on Saturday. It was nice to get to talk more with our community members again about things that they're interested in, not just in the current election, but upcoming things they'd like us to look at. And encourage everyone. I know ballots started arriving on Saturday for most people to vote. Make sure you vote. As well as if you still have questions, the Times Call all of this week is running everything about elections going on in the area from the state ones all the way down. They're not running a special section. They're just running it every day. A different section. I know Sunday was Erie got theirs and Dacono. So I have a feeling we'll be up next, or Longmont will get theirs first. And then the Carbon Valley Recorder, they ran short profiles of people running for office at the beginning of October.
Chris?
And I actually wanted to say the same thing. I wanted to thank the Mead Area Chamber of Commerce for holding that meet the candidates event last Saturday. And also to the Merc, because they allowed us to use that room upstairs for that event. And they made amazing sandwiches that you could buy after that for lunch. So sort of give them kudos. And also what Chris said, the consumer report for Carbon Valley is providing space for the candidates to introduce themselves. Times Call is hosting a candidate position page with short bios of the candidates. And both of the articles are available online. So make sure you look those up. That's it.
Thank you. I just wanted to give a quick shout out. I've been going through the Police Citizens Academy, and Chief and Commander, top notch. The things that we've been getting a chance to learn and experience have been incredible. I'll report out when I'm completely finished with the academy, but I just wanted to kind of throw that out there right now, that the things that we've been able to do and participate in and, interact and learn has been monumental. Some of the stuff that these guys do, the training that they talk about that they have to go through on a regular basis, I have a better understanding, having gone through this academy, to understand why they have to continue to train. There are so many things that can come up in so many different scenarios. It's just, you can't be prepared for everything. But it's been an excellent thing. I just want to say thank you again. So if anybody has an opportunity, another one comes up, I'd recommend you highly do it. It is very informative.
All right, thanks, David. Anything else from you two? All right. Oh, so I know that we've having a quite a busy month always. We still have coming up the state of the county, the 22nd, and that's from 7:30 to 8:30 at Ames Community College. Trick or Treat Street is October 26th on Main Street, and our Weld County dinner is October 30th. And last Friday, I spent my day with the Mayor's Leadership Academy down in Denver at the Vectra Bank area. What a beautiful place. But we talked mostly on leadership in crisis and communications 101 and how we can how we can better communicate. CML was there for a legislative update, and wow. Thank you, Marcus, for being here tonight, because there's a wacky stuff coming up. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I tell you what. Yeah. So policy met the same time frame that I was there at the academy. I didn't get to go through, but I did ask Heather for some highlights. So nothing just on the books yet, but it's just coming. So we're going to have some good stuff coming. So and thank you, Marcus, for being here. All right. That's all I have. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Parr,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cartwright.
Yes.
Trustee Harris,
Yes.
Trustee Adams,
Yes.
Trustee Schranz, Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. The October 14, 2024 regular meeting of the Board of Trustees is now adjourned at 7:05. Thank you very much for coming tonight. Thank you for everyone virtually that attended, and please drive home safely.